Welcome to Road Trips in Hastings County. I'm sure we all enjoy getting out into the open countryside, the fresh air, getting out of the house for a while. With this in mind, the Hastings County Historical Society has developed a number of road trips, exploring the back roads and the countryside of our county while stopping at a number of historical plaques to read the stories of the early days in this county. This has been made possible through a new website which the Society has created. You can find it at hastingshistoricalplaques.ca. This website contains information on over 100 plaques all across Hastings County. And from this, we've extracted a number of itineraries for these road trips, which will get you out into the countryside, into the fresh air, while at the same time allowing you to learn some of the stories of the early days in Hastings County. Now today we are in the beautiful village of Stirling. And there are many plaques in the village. In fact, a walking tour of the downtown, you can see a number of plaques telling about the buildings in the early days. I am standing in front of what was the railroad. The railroad ran all the way from Myers Pier in Belleville to Peterborough, and it ran right behind me here in what is now a beautiful walking trail, but in the village of Stirling. To tell us more about the history and the background of the village of Stirling in this area, we have author and historian Orland French.
Welcome to Stirling. It is said this farming community northwest of Belleville is one of the best preserved heritage towns in eastern Ontario, and it sure likes telling a story in plaques. There are plaques everywhere. It may have more plaques per capita than the city of London, England. I'm not sure of that, but it's a good guess. It's now today called Stirling Rawdon, after it merged with the township of Stirling some time ago. Before that, in its beginning, it was called Fiddler's Mills, after Edward Fiddler, who was the mill owner. And then as time went on, it fiddled around with a bunch of other names before it settled on Stirling. Now, Stirling is a Scottish name taken from a community in Scotland because there were a lot of Scottish people here, including Edward Fiddler himself, who thought they would like to name it after the area they came from in Scotland, and so it became known as Stirling, a bright spot in the county of Hastings. Now about those plaques, I said this is a well-preserved town. Well, it is, depending on is the fire of 1883 you're counting from or the fire of 1908 you're counting from. A lot of buildings have plaques on them saying this is where such and such bank or such and such building used to be, and now it is something else. So they preserved it that way. Another way they preserved the history of the town is in the railway station, which was on the Grand Junction Railway, which ran from Belleville to Peterborough. Besides the preservation of old historic buildings around town, you'll find three features that reflect the history of this community. Behind me is the railway station on the Grand Junction Railway, which ran from Belleville to Peterborough, and it's now the home of the Stirling Rawdon Historical Society. This being a farming community, they have established an agricultural museum here called Farmtown Park, and that includes a replica of a village of about the 1930s. Another significant cultural feature is the Stirling Festival Theatre. That's contained in a building which was once a very prosaically named Community Services Building, and in the 1990s it raised $500,000 and converted it and became the Stirling Festival Theatre, which features professional theatre all summer long, draws in people from Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and busloads of tourists come in here to watch the fine performances put on at Stirling Cultural. Now, one more feature in the area I'd like to mention to you is a geographical feature. Just south of here, there's a big, huge hill, and that's the remnant of the glacial era. And on the top of the hill is a lake which seems to be very strangely placed because the hill falls off in all directions to the plain below. But this oak lake is surrounded by cottages. It seems unusual that it would stay there and not run off the hill, but it doesn't. So take a look at it, and I'll see you on the road.